Hello, hello, hello. Juanice here. So, I want to talk to you guys today, real quick, about boundaries. Boundaries. It's literally one of my favorite words. My friends will tell you that I'm all about them boundaries. Okay, so let's have the conversation. So, I know you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, you will see that this month I've posted some iconic women who to me demonstrated awesome fortitude and very intentional and graceful boundary setting and holding. I started the month or that little series with Maya Angelou, one of my all-time favorites. I would sit on a bench and talk with her probably for hours. Um, and the poem Phenomenal Woman. And that poem, see, what we tend to do is not understand the background. Sometimes we look at things kind of face value, and we don't understand what went into how we got where we got. We don't understand what went into how we set the boundary that we're setting. Okay, so I did a little background, read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, learned a little bit about her life, and then I read that poem, and I was like, wow, amazing that she landed there, right? With that piece of art and those words that are so strong and life-changing. For me, they were anyway. If you haven't read the poem, go check it out. Phenomenal Woman. It is a phenomenal poem. Go over to my IG. You'll see that she did a little performance of it. And it was really awesome to see her do that. So that's Maya. Then I also did Nikki, Giovanni, and James Baldwin. And they had this conversation. I think it was about a 2-hour long conversation. And there were a lot of great points in there. But the clip that I posted was about her holding her boundary and setting an expectation that, no, I need you to give me the good of you as well, not just the bad. And the whole conversation, again, understand the whole thing. And he was like, no, I come home from work, I'm tired and all this. She's like, no, but I need some of that good too. You can't just give it all out externally, and I'm your support, I'm your mate, I'm your person. Like, I need some too. And so understand the nature of what she was saying in that video. And again, you can go and watch the whole video on YouTube. Another great expression of a boundary and a great way to set it. And then I also have done Eartha Kitt, compromise for what? And I know that people absolutely either love or hate that video, right? Because she's expressing in her expressive way her boundaries around love. Again, you got to know the background. So in understanding her life, what she went through, a lot of different things, she set some boundaries for herself such that she didn't feel like she needs to compromise who she is as Eartha, to have somebody love her. What a powerful statement. Like, if you look at it surface level, you think that this person is angry and she's this and she's that, and she doesn't bend. No. She said, I fall in love with me and I want someone to share it with. So that means there's a process there that she went through to get there. So those are great examples for me of boundaries. So when we think about boundaries, a lot of times we will think that they're confrontational. Like, they'll cause a confrontational and that they're mean or that people are rigid. And we don't understand where it all came from. So when you think about boundaries with others, with your loved ones, and let's say someone says, I know I used to do this, but I'm not doing this anymore. You might, if you're interested in that person, right? If you're invested in that relationship, you would be curious. You wouldn't be confrontational because they're setting a boundary, because that's a personal decision. And typically people don't make personal decisions easily, and they don't take them lightly. And if they are my client and they're setting boundaries, and I will tell them, if somebody don't like your boundary, that's their business. It has nothing to do with you. Set your boundary, okay? Because I understand that as a part of elevating and growing and just as developing human beings, we're going to learn things about ourselves as long as we get to continue to occupy space here on this earth. And as you learn things, the point is to apply the lessons that you learn, right? So that may mean you need to set a boundary. Now, I also tell people everything can't be a fight, right? Everything can't be a boundary. You set yourself up to be exhausted holding all those boundaries. So you choose the ones that work for you, right? And then you move forward. So what I have come across repeatedly, and even I have been guilty and may still be guilty in different areas of my life, of not even having a boundary around something. So you find that you're always giving, doing, and you're frustrated in that process. Well, the common denominator, my dear, is you. Where's your boundary? Have you set it? A lot of times I find that the answer is no. So we have to work on setting boundaries, expectations that work for us, right? And the good of those around us. Because as you elevate, I want you to first of all understand everybody can't go with you, but the ones who need to will, and they'll understand your boundaries, right? Setting the boundary is so important. Knowing what's a hard no and a hard yes, right? You can have those too. Absolutely. Emphatically, I'll do this, right? But you got to know what that hard no is as well. So setting your boundaries. Then here's the tricky part. When we set boundaries, we think everybody know what we did in our brain, on our little notepad with ourselves, in our meditation, or however we set boundaries. We think everybody know. It is up to you to respect the boundaries that you set in your life. It's up to you to respect it. So you can't just walk out the front door with all your new boundaries and think everybody's supposed to know and they're going to honor them. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to respect your boundaries. But you could do so in love and intentionality, right? My intention is to elevate myself. So this is the boundary that I've set for myself. So this is how I'm going to move going forward. So, hey, going forward, I'm not going to engage in conversations like that. Hey, going forward, I'm going to try and be more positive. Hey, going forward, I'm not going to do that all the time. Right? Whatever your boundary is, whatever you need it to be, I don't know. You can do it and express it in such a way that is in love, right? Now, someone said to me, it feels confrontational when I say no, because no is an amazing boundary word, right? I love no. You can say no angrily. You can say no with no emotion. You can say no with a smile. It's a whole word. It's a whole sentence. It's a whole mood. It's a whole way to be. But it doesn't have to be confrontational, though. So just remember that in setting those boundaries, it doesn't have to be confrontational. It doesn't mean you're ready to fight. Every time somebody crosses, it might be an opportunity to educate, right? Teachable moments. It might be that, right? So don't see no as a negative thing when you're thinking about your boundaries, but understand that as you develop and then set your boundaries, you're probably going to have to use no at some point, because people are used to treating you a certain way, and people are used to expecting you to do certain things based on what you've shown them, right? So now if it's going to be different, you have a right for it to be different, but it doesn't have to be confrontational. It can just be a conversation. It really can. It doesn't have to be a whole big production. It can just be, no, we just don't. Like Chadwick did on Black Panther. We don't do that here. It could be that simple, right? And you can move forward. So first I need you to understand, what is your boundary? Set your boundary. That's usually a daunting task, because you want to bring into that your experiences, and then you want to bring into that where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do and how you're trying to move, how you're trying to represent yourself in your life, right? So you have to put a lot of consideration into that. Then you move forward into, now I have to respect my boundary. I should not expect to walk out my front door and everybody know, oh, she set this boundary of you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can do that. Nobody's going to know that. Nobody's checking for you like that in your head to know what your boundaries are. You demonstrate them. as the ladies did that I mentioned earlier in the video. And once you do that, you'll continue to see opportunities to reinforce your boundary, and they may change, right? But think about where you are, where you're trying to go, and what boundaries you need to set up in order to help you get there, all right? And they do not have to be confrontational. They can be conversational. You can do it with a smile and move through your life with intention, all right? All right, talk to y'all later.